Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and thanks to all of you for being here today. Ms. James, why don't we start with you? Thank you, first of all, for stopping by my office earlier this week. I enjoyed our visit a great deal. I want to follow up on some of the conversations that we had. First, let's talk about the F-35 for a minute. I think the acquisition of this system, of this aircraft, is really important for the nation's security and for the Air Force. And I know that I and a lot of other people are looking forward to seeing it roll out. It has, of course, been a project that has been plagued with a lot of cost overruns and schedule delays. These things do happen, especially with a big long-term project, a very complex weapons system like this one. But I'm really afraid that it could threaten the program, especially during a time like this where we're dealing with a lot of really thorny budgetary issues. Those things tend to make everything much worse in this kind of economic climate than they might otherwise. Can you just give me your assessment of where we are with this program and what you could do, if confirmed, to sort of make sure that everything proceeds as smoothly as possible within the cost parameters and the time frames contemplated?
So, Senator, this is, of course, one of the top 3 most important modernization programs that the U.S. Air Force has today. It's critical that we maintain the air superiority and the capability that we have had for the last 50 years, and this particular program is an integral part of all of that. So, first of all, one thing I'll do, if confirmed, is I'll continue to advocate for this program, the importance of it, and be a spokesman for the fact that the threats out there are real and that we need this program to help us counter those threats. As far as the cost growth, the schedule slips and whatnot, I agree with you. It's been a long time. It's an enormously expensive program, and we owe the taxpayers our very best. What I know so far about recent times with this program is that things are trending in the right direction. So that is to say, the Program Manager, General Bogdan, has reported that the costs are coming down. So can more be done? I hope so. I don't know yet, but it's at least trending in the right direction. And we're starting to come up on some important, I'll call it developmental decisions, I think particularly software. There's a software decision that will have to be made soon. Software is critically important. It can make or break a program. So ensuring that that is done correctly is another important facet. So if confirmed, in addition to advocating for this program, I will do my best from my perspective as the Secretary of the Air Force to work with the Undersecretary for Acquisition, Technology, Logistics, to work with the Program Manager of the program and with the Secretary of Defense to make sure that we give value back to the taxpayer, that we watch those costs, that we bird dog it every single day, have dialogue with industry. That's another important thing that's been happening lately, so that industry takes on its fair share of the risk going forward.
Got it. Good. Thank you. Following up on that, with the F-35. We talked a little bit the other day about the F-35 basing decision, specifically the record of decision pertaining to basing of the F-35 Ops 1. As I mentioned the other day, I was disappointed in the multiple delays in the decision. You know, I was told in January that we would have a decision by March. Then I was told a month or 2 after that that we would have a decision either sometime this summer or at the latest, I was told, by October. Recently, there was some indication that it might not happen in October. I was encouraged to hear General Welsh state yesterday that we can still expect a decision sometime this fall. It still makes me a little bit nervous. There's still a fair amount of wiggle room in that. Can you just tell me, as best you understand of the situation, what the reason is for the multiple delays and when specifically you anticipate the record of decision might be announced?
So I, too, Senator, believe that it is the fall. So that's October, November timeframe, I would say. That's based on my best understanding. And I don't know why there have been so many delays other than, of course, it is a complex decision. There's input from a variety of sources. A lot of data has to be reviewed. But I know it's been a frustration, and I hope it won't be too much longer.
Okay. Well, thank you. I mean, As you know, given your experience both within government and outside of government, this does have all kinds of ramifications, especially for the warfighter community as a result of the uncertainty all of this creates. And I'm also worried about all of the related decisions, the MILCON actions that have to be taken, all of which turn on the record of decision issuing with regard to the basing decision. My time is running short. Let's turn to General Klotz. Thank you as well for coming by my office recently. I enjoyed my visit with you as well, General. Congress continues to have some serious concerns with regard to cost growth and delays, as well as planning issues at the NNSA. And I assume you're familiar with the recent GAO report that said that NNSA has $16 billion in cost overruns across 10 major projects, and that could result in a combined 38-year backlog. I assume you don't intend to be in this job for 38 years. But a member of Congress should never accuse an agency of doing that, because by some measures we're more like 1,000 or 1,500 years behind what we need to do in Congress. But I just would ask, if confirmed, how will you address some of these issues related to backlog and cost overrun?
Senator, I too have read a number of different reports that have been written over the past 10, 12 years that have taken to task the NNSA for shortcomings in program management, cost estimation, and large capital construction. I've been encouraged, as I have been preparing for the possibility of being confirmed, to learn that some significant steps have been taken in the past year or so, and including since Secretary Moniz has been confirmed and entered into office as the Secretary of Energy, that are designed to enhance the internal skills of the NNSA to do cost estimation and program management, to include bringing in a lot of people who have had experience in the past with large capital construction, say in the Navy or with the Corps of Engineers, into its own workforce. There have also been efforts to work more closely with the Department of Defense, particularly in the area of cost estimation, to share best practices and to get an independent review of what the NNSA is anticipating will be the case with costs, and as well as the scope of what the Department of Defense expects in terms of its own requirements and the requirements of our military. So my objective will be to continue this process that has begun, to drill down even further into the processes by which we do cost estimation, project management, and capital construction, to ensure that all alternatives are laid out and carefully vetted, and that we hold both Federal employees and contractors responsible, and ensure that there are clear lines of authority and responsibility for them doing their tasks.
Thank you very much. Thanks to all of you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Lee. Senator King.